All right, welcome to SentinelOne's OneCon 25. It's the last spot of the day. Always somebody lucky gets the last spot, gets to come in for all the we're all tired. Everybody's been up since 5, all this kind of crazy stuff. We're at the Cosmopolitan in Las Vegas. I'm Doug White from Security Weekly News, and I've got Rachel Park, who is the Senior Director of Product Marketing at SentinelOne. So I have the expert on.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, what went on today, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they had action all day long.
Yes.
We've been down here on the expo floor where there's all kinds of vendors and stuff that you can't see. If you were here, you could see it. You could see all the cool swag and all the great stuff that's going on and all the many, many people that are back there drinking behind the cameras, which we're not getting to do, which is very unfortunate for all of us. But thanks for coming down, Rachel.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah. So you planned all these events? Did you put the words in everybody's mouths?
I played some roles in putting some words in people's mouths and putting some words on the screen and making them adhere to those pieces. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, so is there like an overall theme to the conference that you're trying to get across?
Yeah, absolutely. The theme of this conference is converge, and it symbolizes multiple different pieces. I think it symbolizes humans and AI converging, thinking about what the exponential power of that is with that combination. It's about converging all of our technology, our intel, our AI innovations, human expertise into a single unified platform. It's about converging as a community. And so we're very excited to be here. We think that the announcements from today, which I'm sure we'll get to, really align to that theme. And it was a great first day.
I mean, so your product is kind of a full stack thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes all the way from like elaborate SOC down to like endpoint level.
Correct.
So there was a whole pile of keynote today. I was looking at the schedule. I was like, well, I'd like to go to this. And they're like, no, you're Interbic. We're like, well, what about, no, you got to be here. So like, I know Tomer did he did too, right?
Yes.
Because I talked to him earlier.
Yes.
Tomer's the CEO, if you aren't aware. And he, he was having a lot of coverage today.
Yeah.
Was he announcing like critical things?
Yeah, absolutely. So he opened with his vision, which was about the biggest cybersecurity challenge that we're facing today and how we have a responsibility to act with autonomous security. And then he led our innovation keynote, which had some really big announcements in it. And I think overall, the theme of the innovation keynote was about how do you equip our organizations with the very best, from data, to addressing the data problem, to addressing securing AI, to agentic innovations and powering your SOC with that, to even thinking about managed services and expertise and the best threat intel across the board, whether it's through acquisitions or through technology or through partnerships with the leaders in the business. How do we just make better solutions for our customers to help them stay secure? So there are several big pieces that we were able to announce today, starting with acquisitions, Observo AI to help solve the data pipeline problem, Prompt Security to help solve one of the hottest topics right now, which is securing AI usage within your enterprise, which is a really big deal. We also made some huge announcements with Purple AI and how we are really pushing the boundaries with agentic AI and embedding that at every stage of the SOC analyst workflow. We announced the Purple AI MCP server, which is a huge boon for those who are experimenting with their own LLMs and custom models. And then we also announced Wayfinder Threat Detection Response, which is a huge evolution in our managed services portfolio, as well as part of our announcement of our partnership with Google Threat Intelligence, which was extremely exciting.
So yeah, there's quite a few announcements.
Just a couple.
Usually we get like one, we're like, yeah, we're hoping to have a good year. But yeah, it was just like sort of like how many announcements could you make in one session?
Yeah.
That's really cool. I mean, so do you know the difference in Observo and Purple?
Yes.
I mean, I saw both of those and I was like, okay, so there's two different ones. So maybe you tell me.
Let's talk a little bit about that. So at the very core, we recognize first that security is a data problem. And in order to stay on top of your environment, it's really critical that you have full, complete visibility to your data, that it is contextualized, that it is deduped, that it is rationalized, that you're actually able to action on it. And so Observo AI solves a very specific problem in that it applies AI models and allows you to streamline your data access and ingestion across any source into AI SIEM. And so what you get is data that is not redundant, data that is contextualized and enriched for you, that is actionable, and that reduces your costs, whether it's productivity costs, time, storage costs, and that is immediately ingested into AI SIEM, which is absolutely critical for the first sum of security. If you take a step back from that, Purple AI is instead your agentic AI analyst. It is present for you in every single thing that you would do as a security analyst, from detection and triage to investigation to response to custom rule creation. And so together, AI SIEM and Observo and AI now as part of AI SIEM, as well as Purple AI, really kind of work together to give you two sides of the same coin.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, that's very interesting to me because I remember, so this is an old, I'm always telling you about old stuff. I remember that one of the first times I did an audit and nobody knew what they were doing.
Right.
So this was before there was anything established. There were no guidelines, there was no nothing. And a company hired me and they said, we need to figure out how to be in compliance for this thing. And I said, okay,
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And one of the first questions I asked was, what do you have? And we ended up using this tool called Dump ACL.
Okay.
And I had no idea what I was doing. And we got this tool and I ran this dump ACL thing, which was supposed to show all the permissions and accesses and who could see. And it ended up printing out like 10,000 pages just as a brief. And it was like the real document would be 100,000 pages long. And we were all kind of overwhelmed with that. So that sounds like that's sort of where you're trying to get, is that this automated system, this AI, can actually sort of ride herd on that in real time. So it's looking at it and going, okay, this person just accessed that. That is extremely valuable.
Right.
This person accessed this. This is worthless. We don't care.
Yeah.
And so let's worry about this threat back here, right here.
I think one thing that is absolutely critical is we do hear the words AI used a lot, but at SentinelOne, we try to be extremely thoughtful about how we are systematically and intentionally applying AI and automation for security teams. And so if we were to take a step back and think about all of the announcements today, you start with data with Observo AI, and you have AI SIEM, which is extremely fast and gives you full visibility to your data. On top of that, Purple, it gives you full access to your data, whether it's native or third-party data, and allowing you to query, allowing you to investigate, allowing you to respond and mitigate things on top of that data, and then actually acting agentically for that. And then you take it even further with Singularity Hyperautomation, with Create-Proof workflows, so you can respond at scale. And then you go one step even further and have prompt security so that you can secure all the AI usage. And so each announcement is very specifically selected to target a specific problem without, I think, going too much and still giving you one seamless platform experience.
Is that getting all the way down into like the actual file level? Yeah. Because like in my world of those old time things, we would just see a file and it's called X dot, I don't know, dat.
Right.
We don't know what's in it.
Right.
We would have to go open the file and look at it and go, I don't even know what this is when I look at it. Exactly. So this is actually able to drill down to that level so it can actually value things and decide and help the priority of that data.
Absolutely. And again, it's about, I mean, when we first started working on Purple AI, a thing that was really important for us was really understanding what is the pain point for security teams. And so we started with our own SOC and actually spoke to other customer SOCs as well, and realized every single action, even going into that file level, takes so many hours of work. And so we've been doing a lot of studies to understand how much faster the application of AI has allowed you to resolve threats, detect and resolve threats. We saw 55% faster remediation of threats because you get that deep visibility. It's totally contextualized, totally deduped, and then you're able to actually action on it. And so I think that's a problem that we can very much easily address today.
Okay. I mean, that's a great solution.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really have a solution. I mean, it was literally like, well, we could hire thousands of people to dig through all this and try to figure it out. Or we could just say, well, let's not worry about it too much. We'll respond when it happens,
Yeah.
which was that model. And that worried me a lot because
Yeah.
I really didn't like the idea that I'm going to approve or sign off and say, yes, this is reasonable, when I really didn't think that it was. But I also didn't have an answer because there wasn't one. I mean, it was just literally like it's incomprehensible. It's too big of a problem. And today we start thinking about just this laptop. This thing is connected
Yeah.
to so many different cloud-based things. It's currently connected via VPN to some other things, and all those have files associated with them. All those files have various levels of, I don't know, value, and all of them have various levels of risk.
Correct.
And I mean, I'm connected to some really cool stuff here, but like, let me tell you what's happening at the White House right now. But I mean, that somebody has that.
Correct.
There's somebody walking around who says, I have national security files on my laptop, but I'm also connected to OneDrive.
Right.
And that's pretty scary stuff. But
Totally.
when I proposed that, it was just met with, like, I'm sorry, there is no answer to this problem. But it sounds like that's where we start to move.
I think that's the desired end state. For us, our ethos is humans occupy a very special role. And the agentic AI allows us to unleash what we think is our greatest weapon, which is human ingenuity. So the goal when we think about any of these innovations is an intentional pairing of human expertise, intelligent ingenuity with the right AI and automation tools. If you were to put it another way, we would think about it as humans are the mission demanders. You, as a human, lead the strategy on how you stay secure, and then you systematically apply AI and just kind of let it handle all of the chaos and all of the data management, the data sorting, the data analysis to actually like mitigating those threats, thinking about your computer example.
This might be a little off your rail, which is fine, but so one of the concerns I have, and it sounds like you're answering it with that with prompt, is how do you keep the AIs under control?
Correct.
Just like when you hire an employee and you say, I'm going to put Doug in charge of my server,
Right.
and I turn out to be kind of crazy
Right.
and dangerous, and or maybe even just a disgruntled, you know what, you guys should give me that raise in the parking space. I'm going to dump all this stuff on the internet somewhere. How do you keep this sort of in the bubble?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is absolutely critical where prompt security comes in because they've been a pioneer in the space of identifying how they can monitor and mitigate AI risks in the enterprise in real time. And they are very thoughtful about the specific use cases and prioritizing those use cases and what organizations need today. So one of your examples, they have prompt for employees where with a quick browser extension, you can monitor in real time employees' AI usage. You can immediately in real time block activities that they could deem out of compliance. You can monitor all of that in a single unified platform. That's one key example. Another one is if you think about shifting left, they also protect, they have prompt security for developers, for AI code assistants. Then they also have prompt security for homegrown AI apps, which is very much on the rise right now within organizations. And so with those three main use cases, we're seeing a lot of excitement around what these could do for enterprises. And then if I can just add a little bonus in early access, which we announced today, we have prompt security for agentic AI and those new agentic AI use cases. So I think there's so much more we can build. I'm very excited they're joining us.
No, I think it's fun. I mean, it's terrifying.
Totally.
But it's a roller coaster. You're scared, but it's fun or
Right.
whatever. But so you get all these agentic AIs, which are now replacing some of my people, which is fine. I mean, some of my people need to be replaced. But I mean, I do like that. I mean, it sounds awful, but if I can shift the human element up in the stat, I can take some of those people who were really just following a flow chart
Totally.
and going, yes, no, maybe, and I can get rid of them. I mean, well, not get rid of them. That's a bad word. I don't mean it like that. I mean, I can move them into another role where they can better serve it. Now be political.
I think it is really about how do we free humans from the laborious, hard work that is not the best application of their intelligence, their experience, their expertise,
Right.
and allow them to take on a full strategic leadership role, a guiding role for agentic AI to actually do all of that like slogging, chaotic work for them it really unlocks a bunch of new potential for organizations, and it allows us to stay ahead from a security perspective. I would also say, I've been really lucky to be able to speak to what I think are some of the best threat intel experts in the industry with Sentinel Labs, with Wayfinder Threat Detection and Response. And I've genuinely asked them as we talk about purple AI innovations, like, should we be scared? And there is a healthy dose of alarm, but yet a confidence of it's still on the side of the defenders right now, because you have our innovations, you have threat intel sharing, you have partnerships, because we are a community. And so if I could highlight a positive note, is I think in this kind of good versus evil battle, good is still winning, and we're hoping to continue to add to that.
But yeah, I wanted to be freed from those tasks because
Right.
when I was a sysop, by the first day I came in, and a lot of you heard this story, but I walked in, there was a stack of green bar like this high.
Right.
And they said, you need to review that and sign it and say you reviewed it. And I was like, what? I needed to be doing other things, but this was a task.
Right.
If I can get rid of that task
Yeah.
and I can get a summary of the 7 things that happened last night
Just
that I
like
really need to go look at, that's what I want.
Yeah.
And I think that's sort of where I was going with that whole idea, because I don't think it cuts humans out.
It doesn't.
It just
definitely
shifts
doesn't.
that role to a different, I mean, it frees me up to be a system analyst instead of being, oh yeah, I got to go through 5,000 lines of log entries and try to figure out what's
In fact, like, we have a tangible example, right? So in Wayfinder Threat Detection and Response, we have all of these experts. They're threat hunting experts, they're MDR experts, they're IRR and breach readiness experts. And we have a self-reaffirming system and cycle with Purple AI. So that means our MDR experts are actively training Purple AI. They are giving feedback to refiner models on how it performs. And in turn, these experts are also using Purple AI in how they serve our customers so that they can work faster. And it's a perfect example of how human expertise and AI can work together to just serve people faster, help them stay a little bit more protected. And it's really working quite well, actually, on both sides.
Well, I got through the first 2 lines of what happened today.
Perfect.
Out of the whole page. We could probably talk for 2 hours about all the things that you missed because you weren't here, but it's okay. That's why we made these films for you. Thanks to Rachel Park for joining me as we wrap up the first day of OneCon 25. I hope you'll join us again for the rest of the interviews that we're going to do tomorrow. I'm Doug White for Security Weekly News. This interview is sponsored by SentinelOne. If you want to read more about SentinelOne, please go to securityweekly.com/OneCon, and we have all the information there. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you.